All right, ladies and gentlemen, I am here with Mr. Marcos Leal, former singer of Ill Niño, current singer Shattered Sun, and current singer of Swim the Current, and above all, a great fucking human being and a guy that I consider a good friend. So, Marcus, thank you for doing this, man. I really appreciate you, bro.
Dude, thank you for having me, man. I really appreciate you taking the time to have me on and talking about this awesome show that we have coming up, dude.
Awesome, dude. Yes, I am. Dude, I'm so looking forward to this. When I first heard you and Swim the Current, I was like, okay, I'm seeing a little different side of Marcus that I haven't seen before. I mean, I've heard you sing clean vocals with Shattered Sun, and you've always knocked it out of the park. You sang clean vocals too with El Nino, but this is kind of different, right? This is like a fusion of genres, and honestly, like I would, I work and then people have radio on, and because I work at a nursing home, right? So residents have their radio on, and some of them listen to country. And I'm starting to see this rock country fusion become more and more popular. And your boy Jesse, he plays in a country band that kind of does a little bit of the southern rock kind of stuff too, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, it's becoming a thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what, man? Like I've had this, idea for so long. You know what I mean? Even going back to before Shattered Sun. I mean, I've loved country music since I was a little kid, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
I've always kind of I've said this story quite a bit, but I've always sang country, in my backyard while I'm barbecuing or while we're doing football games and stuff.
Yeah.
I'll have it cranked and I'll be singing. And I've always heard that, like, dude, you can actually sing country music, and I'm like, whatever, just bullshitting around. But
Yeah.
it wasn't until, like, I was in El Nino for a while, and not to speak negatively, but like
Sure.
when you're in this box
Hmm.
for like so long, I know this creatively. You're like, oh man, I want to do something else, or I want to try something else, and it kind of gave me the hint in the the back of the bus, singing Jason Aldean and Co-Ed. So I was like, man, if I could mix these two somehow, some way, I think it could be really special. And it wasn't until I met the guys in Swim the Current that, like, it just kind of all clicked. They had the music, I had the voice, and we just put it together, and it worked out beautifully.
Yeah, so that's funny you mentioned that because I was going to ask you something similar. Like, what was your earliest memory of, like, you know what? I think I can sing. Like, I think I can do this. When was that moment for you? Because for me, I can tell you, I was watching. I don't know if you remember this. I was watching Rock the Cradle on MTV. Do you remember that show?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
So the singer of I don't remember who the son was of what rock star it was, but he was singing "Creep" by Radiohead, and I was by myself at home. I knew my parents were gonna be out for a while, so I was like, my stepdad is not really a rock guy, right? So he's more like a Tejano dude. Um,
Yeah.
so I had the fucking TV cranked up, and right on that bridge, she's running out. As
Mhm.
soon as he went, run, 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 I went ahead and I did it with him, not knowing what the fuck I was doing, right? So I hit the note, I hit the run.
Oh, that's when it clicked for you,
And
right?
and
You're
that
like,
was
oh
and then
shit.
like I scared myself. I'm like, whoa, where did that come from? Because then I was just fucking around. I didn't know what I was doing. And then
Yeah.
all of a sudden it's like it clicked for me. So that song "Creep," although people, when you go out to bars and stuff, when you play by, yourself with a solo, with a duo, that's always a song that people request. And after a while, you just get tired of hearing it, tired of playing it. But that's the one song I never get tired of singing, never get tired of playing because it's like a special song to me now because that's how
Yeah.
I found out I could sing. Is that something similar for you?
Yeah, you know what? Mine was kind of a similar thing as well. I used to be, I had a bunch of friends growing up, and they started a band, and man, I was dying to be in it. I didn't know I didn't have any musical talent or anything like
Yeah.
that. So my first thought was, Slipknot's big, Limp Bizkit's big. I want to be a turntablist. That was my first, and really that was my only way into the band because they already had guitar player, they already had a
Sure.
singer. But and God, I hope he doesn't hate me for saying this, but the singer that we had for the band at that time, we were all kind of 14, 15, 16, and he had got a girlfriend. And
Uh,
when he got his first girlfriend, they kind of, oh, we're dating and we're going here and we're kissing. I think it was the first time he ever got any action or something like
Sure.
that.
Yeah. I mean,
So
at 14, 15,
he
16.
started missing practice a lot. Yeah, yeah. He started missing practice. Well, I'll sing. And oddly enough, we were doing Ill Niño covers. We were doing System of a Down covers. He could scream really well, but I figured out, man, I could sing really well. So I remember singing one day. It's kind of a situation like yours, and was singing a couple of El Nino songs. And I remember my friend's sisters came in the room, and they were like, "Holy crap! Like Marcus can sing, like not scream, but he can sing." And so fast forward, we're doing a show, and the singer doesn't show up. And
Oh
I
man.
remember sitting in. Oh yeah, I remember sitting in back of the amps. And I already knew it was coming. He didn't show up. So they were going to be like, hey, well, you've already practiced and you've already sang. So sure enough, they come back then. They're like, dude, you're going to have to do the gig. And I was like, no, God, please, no, I can't do it. And it was out of fear. Cause I remember my friend's sister's boyfriend. We would hang out there at the house we would practice at. I remember he was pretty drunk that night, and he came up and he was like, you know what? He was like, if you're gonna pussy out like this, he was like, don't ever show your fucking face around the house again. He was like, if you're gonna pussy out, he was like, don't ever come behind the mic, don't ever show up at the house again. And I remember they were like, no, it's okay if you're scared, you don't have to do it. And I remember he walked off and I was sitting there and I was like, I'm never going to be able to show my face again if I don't do this. So I stepped out from the amps. I remember I sang to a bar at 16 years old. And I think maybe 30 seconds into the first song, I was like, yeah, this is what I want to do. Fuck those turntables. I'm going to be the singer now. And
Nice, dude.
that was kind of it. I was the singer
Yeah.
from that point on.
It's like the
So
Zombieland quote, time to nut up or
it
shut
was
up.
out of fear.
Yeah, dude. And
Exactly. And it
that's
was one of those
crazy.
things where it was like, I'm never going to be able to show my face.
Right.
Yeah,
So and
it was
the
pretty
thing is
funny.
like, as you were doing it, the confidence comes up. So then you start projecting more. Because when you're scared and when you're shy, you start to sing inward, right? Because you don't want anybody to hear you, but you have to fucking sing, and there's a mic in front of your face. But then as you
Yeah.
start, the
Yeah.
confidence comes up, and then you start projecting, and then those wings start to grow on you, and you're like, man, I think I can fucking fly.
Yeah. And there's something that I've kind of always said because I've noticed this in singers, like as I've been through through the ranks all the way up
Yeah,
and down.
yeah, for
So
sure.
I know the singers that would do what I would do, which was they'd crank the music real loud and they'd sing in the mirror and they'd do all the moves like Jonathan Davis and Corey Taylor. But I also have witnessed the singers that are like the too cool for school guys where they're always kind of like looking over their shoulder and like, oh, I don't want to look like a fucking loser here. But the most successful singers that I've ever been around have always been the type like me where they're just like, man, I just close my eyes and just rock out. And I don't care if I suck, if I look bad, man, I'm just going to go with it. And they always wind up being the best.
Yeah, it's almost like you just giving yourself permission to do it. Like, why are
Hmm.
you scared? Like, just go out there and fucking do it. I just started playing like solo acoustic in town last year in 2025. And dude, I've been telling my wife since 2015 I was going to do it. I bought an acoustic guitar that's sitting right there. And I was like, yeah, babe, I want to buy this acoustic guitar and I'm going to start playing, 2 or 3 shows. I'll pay for the guitar. Dude, I bought the guitar. I didn't gig with it for like 10 years, you know?
That's that's pretty funny.
So I finally like just like, what am I scared of? Like I play with all these bands. I play in Seattle Rising and Res. Like I'm already out there on stage. I already sing. So why am I scared? So it's almost like you have to give yourself permission to do it, permission to fail, and permission to enjoy yourself on stage, which a lot of the time some people just look fucking miserable up there because they
Oh,
don't
yeah.
they don't they don't allow themselves to have fun. And I think once I allowed
Yeah.
myself to have fun, that's when I really started to like come out of my shell and just do the hell I want to do.
And
And if
I,
you don't like it,
and
it
I,
is what it is.
I kind of share that too as well. I bought an acoustic because back in the day when Shattered kind of really got kicked off, I was like, oh, I'm just a front man and I'm just writing lyrics and these guys are going to bring the music. It
Yeah.
wasn't until I kind of got into it, and I would say mainly towards the end of Shattered, I was like, man, I need to be my own songwriter, and I need to write my own stuff. So I bought my own acoustic, and I just started learning songs, and I play here at the house for the girls and stuff like that. But I've always thought that, because I do see that you play solo, and I've always had thoughts to do the same thing, and I'm kind of like, why am I so scared? I've played in front of massive audiences,
Thousands
but
of people.
yeah, but there's something up there about being alone. You know what I mean?
Yeah. There's
I've
nowhere to
played.
hide. You know what I mean?
Yeah, then there's nobody to hide behind, or there's nothing to oh, let me walk back to the drum set. You're
Dude,
you're the guy. So
I've
so
hit the
yeah, I'm
wrong
still there.
I have written the wrong chord before singing, and I swear to God, I started sweating so fucking hard.
That's awesome, dude. But you know what, man? That's the beauty of it. And somebody asked me the other day. We were doing the show, the 10-year anniversary for
Yeah.
Shattered Sun, and I still get nervous, man. Like I
Yeah.
get nervous when I've played in front of 90,000 people opening for Metallica in France. My knees were shaking, but equally playing in front of, 500-600 people, I'm still that nervous. Playing in front of, we opened up for our Swim the Current's first show. I was so nervous, and they were like, dude, you fucking played with Metallica and Slipknot, and you fucking played here and there. And I'm like, dude,
Yeah.
but you know what? Like,
You
if you
care.
don't, yeah, like if you're not nervous, dude, like then there's something up. Like there's something. I don't want to say something wrong with you. Everybody does it different, but
Yeah.
like it's my way of damn about how I sound, how I look, how I
Yeah.
perform,
Of
and
course.
giving the people who spend, their hard earned money at the door,
Hmm.
the best show that I can give them.
Yeah, man. If you're good, you sound good, it's like it like for me, for example, like now that I'm used to in ears, even if I'm playing for 10 people at a bar, if I don't have them, I don't feel comfortable.
Mm. I'm
Like
just crossing that bridge. I'm just crossing that
yeah,
bridge.
and it's something just like once, like I've played 15 years without in ears, and like 3 months ago I started using them, and it's like now if I don't have them, I just don't. I don't know. Like you hear everything, you can hear yourself really well. Like even the slightest pronunciation of words and breath when you sing, like it makes a difference. And if you can't hear that stuff, for me, I don't. I start to get a little nervous. Like I feel like I'm not doing the best that I could. You know.
Yeah.
So
No, with myself, because I just started using in-ears with Swim the Current, and something that I've learned over the past, 2 years that I've been with the band. So when I was with Shattered Sun and El Nino, I was strictly going off of floor monitor and feel, and I needed to feel that energy, and I needed to hear the crowd, and I needed to be blasting, you know what I mean? But when you switch over to this type of music, to where I'm not leaning on my screams and I'm not leaning on that adrenaline, now my voice has to be amazing. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Every single
yeah,
time. So
yeah,
switching to those in-ears has been an adjustment for me, because it's like, when we did our first show, I was taking them in and out, because I was like, no, I need to hear the crowd on the stage, but no, I need to hear my voice. And
yeah.
I'm getting adjusted to that, but I will say that when you're doing this type of music and your voice is, it's different. You know what I mean? It's not like.
Right. You're not going off of raw power. Like you having to finesse. You know.
Exactly, and that's all this music is. So like those in-ears have been a lifesaver for me, and man, it's funny because I tell younger musicians all the time, they have all of these in-ears and racks and setups and all this stuff, and I'm like, man, I just gunned it for like 15 years, and I'm just finding out
Yeah.
about that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So thank
Well,
God these
I
kids
think
have.
because we've done it like this in the past, dude. I'm trying to save what's left of my hearing too. That's another reason why I'm doing the in ears, especially with a full band. Having those like with Rez, dude. You've been to a couple of shows, but dude, my drummer Philip hits fucking hard, dude. Like my ears will ring for a good hour after the show, and that's
Oh
not
yeah,
good. That's not good.
yeah.
And I have tinnitus. All of a sudden I'm walking around, I'm talking to people, and it goes. I was like,
Oh yeah.
fuck, dude.
Yeah, I mean, even now that like we both have kids, but like I've been doing it without in ears for 20 plus years, and I see it catching up to me now that I'm 38. You know what I mean? I'm like, man, why do I have to have the TV this loud? Or like, the TV will be on 15, or something will be going on, and I'll be like, I can't really hear that right. You know what I mean? And I'm like, oh well, duh, you've been around blasting apps since you've been 13 years old. So it's like, yeah, it's gonna
Yep.
catch up eventually.
Yep. Too bad it's catching up in our mid to late 30s.
Yeah, but
Uh,
you know what? The in-ears have helped a lot. You know what I mean? Not having that monitor blasting in your
Tremendously.
face.
It helps the stage
It's
volume too, man.
absolutely, absolutely. I always feel sorry for the people that get a kick out of standing side stage now, because it's just like da 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 da. They don't hear nothing. They're like, "What the
Yeah.
fuck is this?"
It's just the fucking thumps from the bass and the kick drum.
Yeah, I'm like, just you're better off standing in the crowd. Trust me when I say this. Nothing
When I
cool
went
happens.
to see STP, man, at Concrete, I stood right in front of the sound booth center stage, because that's where you're gonna hear everything the best.
Oh
And
yeah, dude.
I
It's
used to
it's
want to stand on the front, dude, but I feel like an old man saying this, but my lower back can't handle being on that fucking thing anymore. I can't
Oh,
do it.
dude. So Michelle, my wife, when we first started, dating and going to concerts, she was always the one like, we got to get to the front. And it's like, now that I've done so much in music, I'm like, look, I've earned the right to stand by the soundboard and have
Yeah.
a beer and enjoy the show. So I'm not
Yeah.
fucking going up to the front, or
Yeah, and you
like,
can go to the bathroom anytime you want. You don't have to worry
yeah,
about losing your spot in line. Dude, I have a fucked up story about that.
what about
So
losing your spot in line?
I don't know if you remember, Marilyn Manson came to play in Corpus in the
Mhm.
mid 2000s, 2007, 2008, something like that. I think it was 2007. I was standing at a good spot and I didn't want to leave. I had a cup, I had a cup in my hand. I
Oh
look,
yeah.
I look around, dude. I feel ashamed saying this now, but I just peed in that cup. Right? Everybody was paying attention to the show. I just went ahead and I peed in that cup, and I'm just holding the cup. The guy next to me looks at me like, a cup was empty a minute ago. I'm like, yeah, it was. He's like, well, you haven't left, so what the fuck is in your hands?
Hey,
So I was like,
don't be ashamed of this, bro. You need a trophy for this. This is awesome.
so
Huh.
I'm just holding this, and I was like, man, I'm sorry, I don't want to bump into you, so I'm just gonna put it right here by my foot. He's like, no, don't do that, because as soon as a mosh pit breaks, it's gonna be pissed all over the floor. I'm like, damn, you're right. He's like, how much money do you have in your wallet? I'm like, I don't know, 10, $15. He's like, give it to me. So I give him the $15, dude. I swear to fucking God. He grabs the cup just like this, and he fucking goes, one, two, and he fucking chucks that cup
Oh
as
shit.
as far as I could see, dude. And I swear to God, it landed on the front row on some random poor dude's head.
Oh my
And the
God.
whole thing just drenched. He's drenched in piss, right? He's like three or four guys. And all I hear is, what the fuck? And then the
So this
people
is
right
a
next to him were
fucking
like,
beer.
fuck yeah, yeah, fuck yeah. And I'm just like, dude, I'm just looking, I'm pale, I'm fucking white in the face. I'm just like, yeah, mob scene, mob scene.
Yeah,
Just fucking
yeah,
saying this.
you're all, don't make it obvious, bro.
Yeah,
Just keep
yeah.
singing.
That just keep, dude. Yeah, that was
Wow.
crazy, man.
What a fucking story, man. That is fucking amazing.
Dude,
Oh geez. I hope if
yeah.
you ever run into that guy, you
I
just
hope
tell
I
him.
don't.
So he needs to know, dude.
I hope I don't. I feel bad for that guy, man. But
Oh
dude,
man.
so let's talk about your project. So, you bowed out of Ill Niño. You still have Shattered Sun. Shattered Sun. Are you guys planning on doing an album? Like, what is the I guess short and long term plans for Shattered?
Man, with Shattered, I think we're all in a place. See, and this is something that, not to give too long-winded of an answer, like
Sure.
when we got signed and we got thrown into the fire like immediately. You know what I mean?
Because you weren't signed by nobodies. You were signed by some big fucking names.
Yeah, and they had very lofty goals for us. Our very first tour, we went out and supported Testament and Exodus,
Yep.
and then
Yep.
literally immediately after that, 2 weeks off, got dumped out to go do 6 weeks of Mayhem Fest in an air conditionless van, opening up for fucking Slayer. You know what I mean? So I think when you get like thrown into it like that, and then it's like we did the tour cycle and then did another record, and then, naturally, these friendships that we've had since we were kids, like, money starts coming into it, people's heads start getting blown up, and I'm a part of all of that too. And I think we kind of got so like rolled around in the business that it became not fun for a while, and it
Yeah.
became a chore. You know what I mean? And when you're making music like that, when it's not fun and it's a chore, I think the music suffers. So
Yeah.
we all kind of went our separate ways, but we all very much remain friends. And I think now that kind of everybody's in a better place, man, we just love playing music together. You know what I mean? We hadn't been in a room this last show. We hadn't been in a room all together in maybe 2 years, but man, it clicked like that
Hmm.
because we've known each other forever. So we did start recording some new music. We don't want to like, and I know it sounds stupid, but like we don't want to like be held under that pressure like that we used to, where it's like I need it by this day, need it by this
Sure.
time, and I need this, and it makes it not fun that way. You know what I mean? And it's like, hey, look, we'll finish the songs when we finish the songs, and when we do it, we'll put a plan together. And we just celebrated 10 years of our debut record. It sold over 200,000 copies, which
That's
is
amazing, dude.
huge, you know what I mean, for a band from here,
Yeah.
from Alice, you know what I
Yeah. Good
mean?
old
And
Alice, Texas, bro. Yeah.
yeah, and I find it funny to this day that, because when you kind of play on a national level, they're like Alice, or there's like Corpus Christi, Selena, but the people from Alice, man, they get fucking pissed. So they're
They
like, "You're not from
do. I
fucking
know, dude.
Corpus, motherfucker. You're
I
from
know.
Alice, dude."
I
Like,
know.
and you have to explain it to them, but no, we're in
Yeah.
a really good place, man. Jesse's playing in Pecos in the rooftop, and Rob works for Co Wetzel, and DB's
Yeah.
doing great, and Henry's doing great, and it's just right now we want to keep it just us playing when we want to play and when it works for us. And I
And
think
when you
putting
guys
in the
find
other,
time too, right? Because that, it's
yeah, everybody's got a pretty tough schedule. Um, but it's always there, man. We still
mhm.
talk almost every day, and something's gonna happen with that new music.
Good.
I'm hesitant to put a time frame on it. You know
Yeah.
what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah. For sure. I feel you,
Yeah,
man.
but
I think it's the same thing with Rez. We've been a band with every original member since 2009. Unfortunately, you knew our bassist Michael Garcia. He died during COVID. Um, and then we got Brian. He's been playing with us ever since. But it's like one of those things that when we get together, it feels right. But it's timing and it's everybody's schedule. Everybody's so busy. Everybody's got kids. It's fucking
yeah,
hard sometimes just to sit down and write a song.
yeah,
One
and
song.
I've been on the other side of it too, where when you're in the business like that and there's things happening in people's lives, there's people that come around you from labels or management, and they're like, hey man, cut that guy out and get this guy, and
Oh
let's
yeah.
keep going. So I went down that road with, replacing, DB and replacing Rob, and, Henry left for a little bit, and it never worked. Like, as much as like I replaced them with great musicians, it just, the chemistry was never there again. And it wasn't
It's that
until we
original spark that created the band, that made the band be the band in the first place.
yeah, it's that, we bonded over Alice, and a lot of people don't really know, like, yo, Shattered was at like a point where right before we got signed, you get to that point in life as a man where you're like, okay, look, playing these gigs ain't working out, you know what I mean? And we can only play so many shows in Battle of the Bands. Look, so and so got a job opportunity at Fesco, and he's gonna get $50 an hour. So it's like,
Yeah.
it's shit or get off the pot,
Hmm.
time. And fortunately for us, it worked out. But like, we bonded over that. So when you bring somebody else in and you try to replace somebody, it never worked,
Yeah.
man.
There's
And
there there's there's no backstory. There's no like I said, that spark that created the band in the first place. All the everything you guys went through, those rides in the fucking AC-less vans.
I'm convinced that later
Some
on in
fucking
life,
body farted with the windows closed
yeah,
and like, who the fuck did it? It's just,
our van was leaking exhaust all that summer, and the guys always joke that like, man, at some point somebody's gonna come to us like a doctor when we're older and be like, "Did you guys breathe in like a lot of exhaust at one point in your life?" And you're like, "Yeah, we did." Like, but no, man. Like to touch on your point is we just won't do it anymore without each other. And no matter how big the show is, man, we've been offered some big shows, some big tours, some big things, and it's very easy to say, yeah, we'll bring in somebody for Jesse, or we'll bring in somebody for Rob or for DB, and it's like now we're at the point where it's like it is not worth it if we're not doing it together,
yep.
and it's important that we keep it that way.
Good, man. That's good to hear. I think that really should be the way moving forward, especially with guys that were there from the very beginning, very get go, and everybody remembers where you come from. So that really segues into my next question, because now let's talk about Swim the Current. How did that band? How did you come across the band? Who put the band together? Like, how did it even come out? Like, where did the band
So
come from?
So when I was in El Nino, I was getting hit up for features a lot. You know what I mean? I'd feature on one band's thing or another band's thing, and so my buddy at the time, George, who's the bass player, he hit me up and was like, "Hey, man, we've been kind of recycling through vocalists, and want to know if you want to do a feature with us." And I think you kind of know this too. Like, there's like calibers of bands. You know what I mean? When you feature with somebody, some bands are kind of here climbing the ladder. Some bands are kind of in the middle. But when I heard their music, I was like, whoa! Like, this is maybe even better than the music that we were making with El Nino at the time. And I was like, yeah, let's do a feature. So we did a song, Metal. It was a metal song, and it clicked. Like, it was one of those songs, and this as a songwriter, like when the lyrics and the melodies come out of you fast, like right off the cusp, it's going to be something special.
Yeah.
And that's what happened with our first song. It was the first feature that I ever did that charted. It was the first feature that I ever did that crossed 100,000 streams. And so they kind of came back to me and was like, "Hey, we want to do a few more metal songs. Would you want to do an EP?" So at that time, I was real deep in with El Nino, and I was like, I don't really want to do another metal band because I already have Shattered Sun. I'm in El Nino, and just doesn't really seem productive to me to do another band. I was like, but I do have this idea. Like, and this is kind of where I was talking about earlier. Like, I was singing a lot in the back lounge, singing to Jason Aldean and Co Wetzel, and that whole thing started kind of taking off, the rock country. I was like, I really love singing country music. I was like, and I'm willing to do an EP with you guys if you're willing to, give this genre of music a try. Now, mind you, these dudes are all from fucking New York. Like, there's no cowboy in them. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
not at all. So I think they really needed a singer, and it was kind of like, okay, we'll give it a try. So we made a compromise. We made a song with, or we did a cover song of Co Wetzel, and we kind of made it our way, but I sang like kind of country with it. And we did it. It came out great. We shot a video for it. Dude, we signed a record deal off of it.
That's awesome.
It blew up. You know what I mean? And to the point where I remember we were standing behind the video shoot, and I got to credit my buddy Daniel Adame. He was like, this is the direction you guys need to go. Nobody wants to hear another metal band. Like, what you guys have here is special. You should write music and push it like this. So for the next year, we literally wrote country music mixed with rock, and then rock music mixed with country, and found our sound, found our groove. And it just so happened that everything fell apart with me and El Nino, and it fell apart very ugly. I'm sure you remember.
Yep, I remember.
And it was not my intention for this band to be my next step, but it just kind of that fell apart. And I had already been working on this, and it was special. So I just kind of transitioned straight into that and said, you know what, I'm gonna give give my hand to some country rock music and see how it goes. And man, it's been pretty great ever since, man.
So it's been like right place, right time sort of thing, right?
And it seems like that's been the story with me from all the way back to Shattered Sun. Right place, right time. Same thing with Ill Niño, getting that gig, right place, right time. And then things kind of fell apart there to where when the current was already built to where it's just like, man, I can just step into this.
And I'm sure that was like wild for you, right? To front a band that you grew up listening, like that like really shaped your how you like to sing and how you like to do certain things.
Yeah, man. You know, I say it all the time. Is kind of like I was trained for that position many, many years ago. Like I said, I was singing in that cover band Here and Now. So I was training for that position when I was 14, 15 years old. I knew all the songs. I knew every word. I knew every like that. That's why it was not a difficult thing to join the band, because it was like, you know, there's probably even to this day right now, and I know people will look at this as I'm taking a shot at somebody, but I'm not that you could come to and be like, hey, we're going to play a 30-song Ill Niño set. No rehearsal, no nothing. Can you get on stage tomorrow and do it? And probably the only two people in the world are the original singer, Christian Machado, and me. Like, and so it's, you know, it's very bittersweet, you know, because I was able to do a lot of really special things while I was there. But at the same time, I saw how ugly the music business can be, and I saw how friends can really turn on you, how clout can really turn people around, how money can take a friendship of 15 years and split it like that. And you know, it's something that it's something I've definitely had to learn from.
Yeah, learning experience, right? And sometimes you learn the hard way, you know.
Very much so, and I think I learned the hard way because of the love that I had for the band, and how much they inspired me growing up, and to be in that position. You know what I mean? It was supposed to be something else, and then it just it turned into a train wreck. And
sometimes things just don't work out. But again, like you said, you were at the right place at the right time with Swim the Current, and you guys are doing great things already. You know.
Absolutely, and man, I'm so thankful for those guys, because when I left Ill Niño, I was a very broken person. I was very, you know, I lost my dad, I lost my father-in-law. Look, you know, like working as a musician, like the goal is to get into a tour bus, and the goal is to be on the big stages, playing with the big bands. But I've also seen how like that tour bus can be turned into a prison, and having to, you know, I played 3 days after my dad died, and it having to like switch that switch on mentally to being like, man, I'm so broken, but like now I have to stand on stage in front of Mexico City, 60,000 people. It can really fuck you up mentally. You know what I mean? And I'm so thankful for the guys in Swim the Current, because when a lot of people turned their back on me, those guys were there to kind of carry the pieces over to this and be like, look, we're going to put you back together, and you're special. You're a special vocalist. Like, let's not let this fucked up thing that happened fuck up our future. And very, very thankful to those guys for helping me through that time.
Yeah, man. Or just completely turn you off to the idea of being a musician completely, because that can happen too.
Yeah, I mean, dude, for a few months after that, bro, there's something to be like said when you have these relationships with people you're best friends with. They've been there for your kid's birth, for your deaths, for, you know, all kinds of things, and to see a situation like that split a friendship in moments, and then you're kind of left with like, well, who is my family? Who are my friends? What
Right.
am
Who
I?
can I
And
rely on? Yeah.
yeah, like, so there was a moment there where I was just kind of like, fuck everything. I don't want to even do music anymore. And those guys in Swim the Current kind of saw something within me that they're like, no, dude, you're too special for it to fall apart like this. So we're gonna carry you for a minute until you can get yourself together. And man, I'm so thankful that they did that because
So so you guys
I
were
don't know where I'd
like
be.
you guys were doing the stuff remotely, right? You singing the stuff, sending it to them, kind of putting the pieces
Mhm.
together. So what was like when you guys met for the first time in the same room? Amps are coming on. Your drummer's tuning the drum set. You're standing there. The mic is on. Like, how did that felt? How did that feel?
There was an electricity there that like I just know it, because I've been in so many different situations where things are forced or man, you just got to do it because this is the obligation. But like when we first played together or we first stood in the room for, a music video shoot, I was just like, man, this is an electricity that I've never felt before. Or the vocal that's coming out of me. Like, man, you're not singing this in your backyard, your Theos and Theas anymore, man.
Mm-hmm.
Like, dude, you're on. Like, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
this is your time to really take something that you built, not something that was already built. This is something that you're building and you got to take it the distance. And
Yeah.
man, it felt special. It
But
felt very
and
special.
that feeling is not necessarily better than the other feelings that you have. It's just something different that sparks new feelings within you. You know what I mean? Like when you jam with different people, doesn't mean that it's better than your previous band and your previous roommates. It's just a new feeling that really got to get your creative juices flowing and you're going. And it's like almost like falling in love with the music, like of starting a band all over again.
Yeah, because from the previous situation, like you're in a box here. Like
Right.
this is our sound. Like we don't go here, we don't go there. So like
Sure.
just stay here and we're always gonna be good. To go into a new thing where you're like, man, you've never sang country music before. And like you never done a song where you don't scream in. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and it's funny. It's a misconception that I hear all the time. Whether or even people to this day when they hear "Swim the Current," they're like, "Dude, I didn't even know you could sing." And I'm like, "What the fuck? I've been singing since
Have
you
you
know what
heard
I mean,
Shades of Melody? Like,
2016." Yeah, yeah, and it's just funny that people think that like, man, dude, this is why you shouldn't be screaming. And you're just like, well, I do fucking sing. I don't just scream, but it's funny hearing that to this day. But yeah,
that's a
man,
good
it
feeling too, though,
was
right?
oh, absolutely, man,
Yeah.
because it's I always judge things like as far as like music is the naked ears, like your mom or like your Thea or your Theo that's like, man, I don't know. That just sounds good. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
so I always judge music off that because those are the most honest ears. You know what I mean? And
Those are
whenever I
people that won't
see,
bullshit you.
yeah, yeah, I know because I've been in the situation where like you're showing something to your uncle and he's like, man, something don't sound right in there. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
like when you get those reactions, I remember I showed my mom, uh, and this is one of the unreleased songs on the Ill
Uh-huh.
Niño record. It's called No Love, where it's man, it's such a shame that that record is not out and people haven't heard it. But there's a song in there that I remember I showed it to my mom and like the reaction that it brought out of her, like her hair on her arms stood up, like you know what I mean,
Wow.
the goosebumps, like the tears that came down out of her eyes, and she's like, I didn't even know you could sing like that, and I was like, yeah, I can, mom. I was, you know what I
That's
mean,
awesome,
but
man. That's a great feeling.
yeah, yeah,
It's a great
and
feeling. My,
so
my mom, she wasn't always like super like supportive of me like being a musician because for those that don't know, I grew up in South America. I'm from Brazil, right? So um in Brazil, a lot of especially like in the 90s, like people that are in bands are always drinking and doing drugs. And my mom was a police officer, so she saw many arrests of that kind of people. So when I started playing music, she's like, "Oh no," because that's the thinking that she had, and it took her a long time to be okay with the idea that I was playing. But after a while, like when Rez put out her first record, she's like, "Wow, this is your band?" I'm like, "Yeah, this is my band." Like me, I'm here. I'm still living at home. Like I'm not coming home all coked up or high or whatever the
Yeah.
fuck, drunk. And I wrote the song in the bedroom, you
Yeah.
know, 10 feet
Yeah.
that way.
Yeah.
And so after that, she was like really, really cool with it. And when I told my mom, I was like, yeah, I was, I didn't have sick leave at work, and I was out for like 4 or 5 days, basically the whole week, half my paycheck gone. If it wasn't for the gigs I played last 2 weeks, I wouldn't have made it. She's like, you make that much money playing gigs? I was like, well, it's not a lot of money, but it's enough money for me to pay a bill. You know,
Yeah.
it's
And
something. Yeah.
it's funny because I share, that equal experience with you as far as like, my dad, God rest his soul, man. He was not very supportive of me when I was coming up because he, like your mom, he saw that I was coming home drunk and that I was being a fucking, nuisance, you know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
I was a little metalhead and that's what we were
Yep.
doing. And, but I'll never forget, like, when people ask like what is like your proudest moment, I've and again, like I've done some pretty amazing things as far as people I've played with and stages I've played on, but the thing that I've always been most proud of is like my dad finally kind of seeing, like, I'll never forget this. He came to a show. We were playing at the Aztec Theater in San Antonio.
Sweet.
And
Nice.
yeah, he came to a show and he we played, you know what I mean? And that was kind
Uh-huh.
of like the first time he really heard us play and was like, oh, wow, you guys sound professional. I'll never forget, I came out to the front and there was a line at our merch table. And he goes, all of these people here are lined up to buy stuff from you? And I was like, yeah. And he was like, he saw the prices on the shirts and he was like, so everybody here is spending $30? And I'm like, yeah, kind of. But like, I remember his
Maybe
mind.
more.
Yeah, I remember his mindset shifted after that, where he was like, "Oh, like I have to help you. Like I have to, and not in a malicious way. Like
Mhm.
my dad knew that I was a musician. My dad did not. He knew that I didn't. I wasn't a businessman. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
This
So
is
like,
something that could propel you forward, like set you
yes,
up. Yeah.
and he from that moment on, man, he was always making sure I had my numbers right. He always instilled it in me to take care of your crew. You know what I mean? Because those are the guys that take care of you, man. He used to have relationships with our drivers where he would call them in the middle. Hey, you guys need anything? You need anything? Stop. If you need this, you need that, you call me, you let me know. I mean, he took care of
Yeah,
all the
man.
guys. When we would come off a tour, he would give us jobs and work. But,
People
having
don't
that.
know how little actions like that go a long fucking way, bro.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I want to say every member of Shattered Sun might have worked for my dad at some point, just between tours. You know what I mean? And having that moment to where like your dad is proud of you, and
Yeah.
I don't want to get too emotional in this, but like
Yeah.
one of the last experiences that I had with him was we were playing with Metallica, and I don't know if you remember this. Shattered Sun was in that battle of
The
the
battle of the
bands for
bands.
Metallica.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and we made it to the final three and we lost. And I remember I was so devastated. And my dad was just like, don't worry, like the opportunity's gonna come again. Just watch, just watch. And I was just like, no, Dad, it never will. Like it never will. Trust me, it never will. Fast forward 2022, my dad is really, really sick with cancer. And we got the opportunity for Ill Niño to open up for Metallica in France.
Damn.
And I remember my dad stayed up because the time difference is night and day over there from over here. My dad was really sick and he stayed up on FaceTime. And I remember I set my phone up right there by the amp and he watched the whole show there.
Sick.
And I wasn't thinking this at the time because your adrenaline's rushing.
Sure.
And I go back to the dressing room and I remember my dad was really sick and he goes, I told you, son. He goes, the opportunity was going to come back again.
Yeah, man.
And I wasn't thinking that at the time, but man, it just goes to show how having that, love from your parent and having them support you in what you do goes such a long way. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember the name of the fucking band that won. Local H, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
local age. And I was like, wait a second, these guys are already signed because it was supposed to be like a competition for bands that were like unsigned, up and coming sort of thing, right?
Yeah, yeah. And I remember because I
I
actually
remember I
got
was
to.
pissed for you.
Yeah, I was very upset, but I will give those guys a shout out because they called me up
Yeah,
to San Antonio
you
and I
play with
sang a
them,
song.
right?
Yeah, I sang a song with
Yeah.
them. But I also found out some things that night where I was kind of like, wait a minute, was this thing
Mm,
fraudulent? Was
mm.
it not? But then I kind of put it away because I met Lars that night, and I was just like, "Oh my fucking
Hey,
god!" Lars
there you
walked in the
go.
room. Yeah, I was just like, I don't give a fuck about anything, dude. And I,
That's
I
awesome.
tell I tell anybody now because Lars catches a lot of heat. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah,
And so I've seen drummers and I've seen musicians or like my brothers are like, man, fuck Lars, fuck that guy. I'm like, yeah, until he walks in the room, and then you're like, sir, Master of Puppets changed my fucking life. Dude, I swear to you, I was
yeah.
in the fucking dressing room with Local H, and there was somebody that was with him that was like, oh man, Lars is so overrated and blah, 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 this and that. Fucking Lars walks in the room and he walks, he's all, sir, Master of Puppets change. I would not be here without Master. I was like, you motherfucker, dude.
You
But,
little fucking
I,
weasel.
I got so much love for Lars, man. Yeah, I know because I'm like, dude, yeah, Lars walks in this room right now and you'll straight up fucking bow to him, dude. So don't give me that shit.
That's awesome, dude. So with Swim the Current, you guys are playing the hometown show. And it basically it's because like
Yeah,
for every local musician, when you want to say where you're from, like it's like you said earlier, you say I'm from Corpus Christi. You know, it doesn't matter if you're from Portland, if you're from
yeah.
Calallen, from Alice, whatever. You just say you're from Corpus to give people
Mhm.
a geographic location of where you're at. But you're having a hometown show. Those
Yeah.
guys have never been to Corpus before, have they?
No. And so here's the thing, like I already did a hometown show with them up in New Jersey. So imagine taking, this Texas country rock up there and playing it up there, which I was a little skeptical about around a bunch of New Yorkers, but man, they fucking loved it. You know what I mean? So naturally the next step is to come down here and play
Sure.
that here in
Well,
the
when the
in
music's
the
good, it's
roots of where it's
undeniable.
from.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. And you know, well, I'm so thankful that you guys are going to be a part of it. I'm so
Oh hell
thankful.
yeah, man.
Seattle
Yeah.
Rising. I mean, you guys are like the first ones that I originally like thought in my head to go get because we wanted. It's difficult finding support for the type of band that we are because we're like, well, we can't get full on country acts and then we can't get metal acts. So it's like, who do we
Sure.
find? The
Yeah.
first person off the top of my head was you and was Seattle Rising. I was like, no,
Sweet
we're
man.
gonna get them. So
But
very
we're just really
excited
excited to
about
be
you
there
guys.
and play our originals, which I don't get to do very often because you know we do a lot of the cover stuff and the tribute. So to be able to basically play almost our whole album and sprinkle in some of the stuff that we usually do, man, that's gonna be really excited for us too. And we can't wait to get you
Oh
up
yeah,
there,
I
man.
already told up.
I already talked to Damon. I was like, hey, man, Marcus is going to want to do What If. And Damon was like, I like What If, but I like My Own Prison better. Like, talk to Marco, see if he wants to do My Own Prison with us. So,
Oh my god! You know what? I got a quick funny story about when I went to see Creed. I don't know. You might have been there. You might have saw this.
in
So
Corpus?
I had just came off of tour and we went to go see Creed when they played in Corpus. Yes.
Yeah, I saw you there. Yeah,
Well, went to see Creed in Corpus. So I didn't. Yeah, I went in there thinking I was. So Creed's on stage, and I just wasn't even thinking. I hit the weed pen, and I blew it up. And I swear to God, dude, Scott Stapp looked. He saw me. He looked right at me, and he pointed at somebody and pointed to me. And I was like, "Oh shit!" So I put it up right, and a couple minutes went by, and my buddy Daniel was like, "Hey," he was like, "There looks like there's a bunch of people coming this way," and I was like, oh, fuck. So I tried to move a little bit, and sure enough, Creed's head of security came and grabbed me, and he was like, "Were you just smoking?" And I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "Look, I'm somebody in the Corpus scene, so like I don't ever have to worry about that." So I was like, "Yeah, look, I was, but like I'm sorry, I didn't realize it was thing." He was like, "You're out," and I was like,
oh,
"Whoa, wait,
dude.
what? What?" And he was like, "And everybody you're with is out too." And I was
Damn.
like, yo, hold on. And I remember the security guard that worked there knew me, and he tells him, he goes, hey man, he goes, this guy's in a band too. He's in a really big national band as well. He goes, I don't care. Scott wants him out. So I was like, fuck. So they literally escorted me off the property like a fucking piece of shit, dude. And I remember I was
Oh man.
walking by everybody. Everybody's like, yo, dude, what's going on? I was like, I don't fucking know, man. But
I
they took
remember
me
that, dude. I
outside.
didn't want to message you and like pry me, like, hey, dude, what the fuck happened? That's funny.
Yeah, but dude, he fucking saw me like a hawk, dude. So like he was like in his mid sing like that, you know what I mean, doing the
Yeah.
moves, and I blew the smoke out, and he was like, dude, he fucking saw me and
Like a
was like,
fucking
get that
detector.
motherfucker right there. Dude, straight up. But hey, you know what, man? I still gotta give him respect because it's like, that maybe that's something that's triggering to him. I don't
Yeah.
know, but
Yeah, it
clearly
could
it's
be, man.
something.
He's clean, he's sober now, so anything that might trigger something, you don't know what he's thinking of and what's his head like, but yeah, it's a
Exactly.
shame. It's a shame, man.
That's why I didn't fight it. I was just like, you know
Right.
what, man, it's cool. I fucked up, my bad, too. But no. With that being said, what if is probably a little bit better for me. But I'm excited to fucking play it with you guys, and I'm excited to have you guys a part of the show. Excess, which I'm sure you guys have probably heard of. They're another
Yeah.
Alice band.
Yeah.
These guys are fucking incredible, man. I saw them when they were a cover band playing at the local bar here in Alice, and I remember I went out there and was like, I kind of watched them, and I was going to give them some advice, and I was like, look, you guys got to make your own music, and you know
Hmm.
get away from the Alice bar scene, and
Yeah.
to see what they've grown into now is special, man. And
I don't want to like say anything about previous members or anything, but not that they got Joseph.
yes.
It's like, man, you guys just got a big upgrade on those drums.
Yeah, and that's another thing I was saying too. Joseph's playing two sets that
Hmm.
night,
Yep.
so what a special treat, man. And then Heavy Soul, man. I've always had
Oh,
so much respect
those guys are
for
awesome, man.
for those guys, man. And you know, I think it's such a perfect lineup for us to come out and have this debut show. And
Yeah, because I think Heavy So kind of sprinkles in like some of that bluesy vibes that kind of blends in with what Swim the Current does a little bit, and then you have Access and you have Seattle Rising that's gonna add that grunge southern rock kind of thing, and then you guys, bam. So yeah, I think it's a perfect lineup.
oh yeah, man. And I gotta give a shout out to Casey, because Casey
Oh,
from the House of
Casey,
Rock
yeah,
is he's so special to me, man, because it's like that guy's been booking me since I was 15 years old. You know what I mean?
dude, me too, man. I was like 18 when I first got booked at the House of Rock playing with a band, and Casey was there from from the first time I got on stage ever.
Mhm.
Casey was there, man. So I
Yeah, and
nothing but respect.
he's followed me through everything that happened with Shattered Sun. He's followed me into El Nino. He's followed, so when I first went to him about Swim the Current, he was just like, absolutely, bro. We want this to be, your debut show. We want you to play here on this stage. And, to have him believe in me all these years. I mean, he's seen both of us as kids to being full on adults, fathers,
With
and
our own kids now.
professionals.
Yeah,
Yeah. So, I gotta give him a shout out, because man, I got so much love for him and
absolutely.
what he does.
Absolutely. So let me ask you one last question here. So if you had, I don't know how big of I'm a big fucking geek, right? I got a Stranger Things poster here. I have a Walking Dead poster. I don't know if I can, let's see.
Oh yeah, I see him.
I have The Walking Dead bat. I have my Negan bat up there, right? So I'm a
Mhm.
big fucking geek. So I don't know if you're into Marvel or DC or that kind of stuff, but if you had to like put Shattered Sun and Swim the Current and assigned one superhero group to each one, what would it be? Off your,
So I'm gonna put this into because I'm also a nerd, but I'm a nerd in different things too. So I'm gonna say Swim the Current is more of Michael Myers,
okay,
and Sly will kind of sneak up and get you, and Shattered Sun is more brutal, like Jason Voorhees, where he's just like,
there
yo,
you
I'm gonna
go.
bludgeon you to death. And I love the contrast in both of them, and I'm so thankful to still be playing with the guys in Shattered.
Yeah, man.
And coming out and playing hardcore fucking thrash. And then I can switch over to Swim the Current, which is like radio rock country. It's very sly and slick, like
Yeah.
Michael Myers, where he's gonna sneak around the corner and you might not like him, but man, he'll fucking get you. You know what I mean? So yeah, I'd have to say those Michael Myers
There you
and
go.
Jason Voorhees, dude.
Oh, that's perfect, man. Dude, thank you so much for doing this. I really appreciate it. I'm so looking forward. Uh, I've been fucking practicing nonstop because I want to make sure that this show is perfect for everybody, not just you guys up there, man. I think it goes a long way from the first bands all the way up to closing bands. You know this. If everybody's
Oh
having
yeah.
a good time, everybody enjoys it. So
I,
I
I
can't.
told I told all the guys too in my band. I was like, yo, I didn't book no fucking openers. I was like, I booked fucking bands that fucking bring it. I was like, so
Yeah,
we're gonna have to fucking bring it. You know what I mean?
yeah,
So,
dude.
but again, I think that's what's special about it, man. And I'm so thankful to be doing this show with you guys and to be doing it here in my hometown. So definitely some beers to be had, and definitely if you guys are watching this, get your tickets. Get your tickets right now.
Yeah.
It's going to be January 31st. Heavy Soul, XS, Seattle Rising, and of course, your boys in Swim the Current. We're very excited to see you there, man.
There you go. You heard it from the man himself, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next one.